Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. We'll begin in 2 minutes. It's a Houston thing. I just got finished cutting another segment. Oh, look at this shirt, man. That's a great shirt, isn't it? I love that shirt.
Oh, wow, man, I thought you was doing a video.
Oh, I am.
Video.
Talk.
Video. You ready?
Rap. What do you do? Do what you do, man.
Y'all know what time it is, man. Cuda Brown, Morris Lane, MARSLANE.co. Oh, Jinga, I got my brother Rob V, man. Very, very talented guy. Very, very talented singer. Rob, tell them about you, brother.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on, man? I go by the name of Rob V, man. Latin R&B artist, man, out of Houston, Texas, man. Just come to support my brother, Cuda Brown, in the video. So, hey, y'all need to be out here if y'all ain't out here, man. Like right now, y'all need to be out here. Video, because it's going down. So we come first.
It's going down. H-Town.
H-Town,
Texas.
We
Jinga
come
in the
first.
building. Cuda Brown. KODERBROWN. Cuckoo.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. As always, I am your host, Fearless Floyd, and gave you a little snippet there of my follies this past Saturday, hanging out with my buddy. Man, he's got so many hats. He's got like a bill. I think he's just like a nonstop bill all the way around. But yeah, Juan C. Vasquez, who shot the Chicano Squad. I was in that music video, and he just shot this one, went out and hung out, and hey, we come first. So that's, you're going to hear that song, and obviously you saw Cuda Brown, so let me go show you who he is. If you don't know, some people have no clue who these rappers are, and hey, guilty as charged as well, because I don't listen to rap 24/7 like some people. But I do get to hang out with these folks and talk to them, and we have mutual friends. But here's Cuda Brown. He is a artist, band, musician for hip hop, and here's his biography. Houston, Texas, we have a problem. The talented MC, songwriter, producer, engineer, CEO, and founder of the independent record label Capture Music Group continues to work towards building a music dynasty consisting of both talented rappers and singers. Cuda's inspiration for hip-hop came to light at an early age when noticing how powerful music is an art. He began to engage in simultaneous rhyming, complicated rhyme schemes, style switching, reading books such as the Bible, the dictionary, thesaurus, and researching the world, all to perfect the craft of music. His lyrics are based on intelligent wordplay, stunning metaphors, and cunning street knowledge while still carrying a message. The profound lyricist focuses his lyrical image on everything from capturing all lifestyles instead of focusing on a particular audience. Through his music, he wants to cross social boundaries as well as bringing good music back to the industry. Cuda is by far one of the best artists in the nation, and his street buzz is immaculate. On a television appearance interview, he was asked a question to speak on the subject failure, and the kid replied with a swaggering statement, "I never heard of it." What makes him so unique? Only one word can segregate him from unsuccessful musicians, and that is destiny. With hard work and dedication flowing through his veins, he developed the mind of a young entrepreneur at the beginning of his career with an extravagant blueprint. Once he founded CMG, the rest was history. CMG has an upper-class recording studio, recording artists, beat producers as well, and is a well-established record company making a bold mark in the music industry due to great ownership. He always states, "I thank God for being smart enough to realize I had to get my own studio built, learn how to operate the equipment so I can record anytime, any day without waiting on anyone, because people will let you down in life. Since I have everything I need to be successful in the music industry, who can stop me now besides God?" Then he says, "Nobody." With his solo debut mixtape to the world, which was self-explanatory, titled "Give Me My Respect." And that's exactly what he means when he's selling over 100,000 plus copies without the backing of a major deal. This isn't just an ordinary rapper. When it comes to hit making, his songs are on a consistent scale of keeping hip hop alive. Without a doubt, Cuda's one of the hottest artists in the world, coming to make a title of being the GOAT, the greatest of all times. So that's who that gentleman was there, introducing himself to you at the video shoot. And if you didn't notice the ball cap that he was wearing, it was a Lone Star beer ball cap. And I had to razz him. So I was like, "Hey, man, how much Lone Star beer have you drank in your life?" And nothing against Lone Star, because I used to drink long necks, way back in the day. He doesn't drink Lone Star. He's probably never had a Lone Star. I just had to get something that matched, the shirt. We come first. Branding. So that's why I chose that. That's why we had a blast out there. We had a really, really, really fun time. Apparently they do this thing every 2 weeks out there. So, I'm going to go out there and hang out, me being me. And, of course, I'll take some of my products and merch. And, because I wore my Be Fearless shirt. And people are like, "Man, I want one of those shirts." I'm like, well, I don't have any on me, man. And dang, I brought stickers and decals and business cards. I didn't bring no merch. So, yeah. Seemed quite popular, but you will see the Be Fearless shirt in the video. Absolutely. Same shirt that I'm wearing. Actually, it's this shirt. That one. But it wasn't this one, but it could be. This is the same size. So, yeah. So that was a blast. I had fun. It's always good seeing Juan and hanging out with his crew. And, I met all his cameramen. And I've been, working on a screenplay for a hot minute. I had it finished, and for some reason, half of it disappeared. So I have to go back and redo that. That's something I'm working on as well. With all the you know me, I got 10 different things going on at one time. Have a lot. Whew, man, I have a lot going on. I don't think I've ever been busier with doing, just doing stuff. Reached out for some really good interviews today, so hopefully I'll hear back from them. Obviously, I spoke to my friend Carmen, running for the 18th congressional district. That's the district I live here in North Houston, which basically circles Houston. So if you go like in between the Beltway 8 and 610, and you just take that swath of land from the east to the west or west to the east, that would be the 18th congressional district, roughly, in general. So Carmen's having a problem, and this is the problem. Let me show you, folks. When you type in who are the 2025 special election candidates for the 18th congressional district, all right, and that's here, like I just did. And this is to fill the vacancy left by the death of Sylvester Turner, who replaced Sheila Jackson Lee upon her death. Well, there are no coincidences, folks. So do the math, because they are liberal Democrats who were urging everyone to go get in free tickets still at Wi-Fi. Drain on the Wi-Fi. I'm gonna have to hardwire this thing. Obviously, I just lost everything that I set up for the show. Yeah, I know the connection's horrible. So I've been going around and around and around with that. I've already had everything reset. So like I said, I'm going to have to hardwire it because it's StreamYard. Sorry, it is what it is. But anyway, let me get back over to my article on Carmen. Where was that at? Sorry about that. It might function better now that I don't have all this stuff in the queue. But anyway, when you do a search, this is what it comes up, and it doesn't mention anything about her. So let's go over here to Wikipedia and look, see what Wikipedia's got. American Solidarity Party declared Raina Anderson. Declined Erica Lee Carter. Potential Christina Morales. Jarvis Johnson. Publicly expressed interest Letitia Plummer. Robert Slater, Christian Menefee, Isaiah Martin, James Joseph, Jolanda Jones, Amanda Edwards, Rain Eatman, Zoe Kador. Democratic Party. You don't see any Republicans, do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? You don't see Carmen's name anywhere on here, do you? Why? So when I tell you folks about, elections, running for office, this is what it looks like. This is the dirty politics that they play. Okay, they won't even put her in Wikipedia. You can Google search, same thing. Big blank. What's going on with that? Because remember, when she ran against Sheila Jackson Lee last time, how did she get beat? Okay, if you don't know who Carmen is, here, let me go. Carmen Maria Montiel. She was born in 1964. She's a real estate broker, a Venezuelan-American journalist, writer, activist, and beauty pageant title holder who won Miss Venezuela in 1984. She's the author of the 2020 memoir, Stolen Identity, a story of love, violence, and liberation. She was educated in Venezuela. Montiel entered the Miss Venezuela pageant at age 19. She would win Miss Venezuela, Miss South America, second runner-up in Miss Universe pageant in 1984. That year, Montiel would create the charitable foundation La Misses to aid pediatric hospitals in Venezuela, Ecuador, and Peru. Also that year, while studying at the Universidad Central of Venezuela, Montiel was hired by Venevision first to co-host the morning talk show Buenos Dias Venezuela with Manuel Correa, and the following year to host Close Up, a weekly celebrity news show. In 1986, she became a frequent guest on the Mexican Sunday celebrity spotlight program Siempre el Domingo, and hosted the Miss Universe special in Panama. Her journalistic work expanded into radio that year, beginning a stint as a disc jockey and producer at the Caracas-based RQ 910, on which she told the stories of young people who exemplify character and hard work. Also, 1986 to 1988, she co-hosted the 3-hour weekday morning magazine show Complicidades with Maite Delgado and Eva Gutierrez. In the late 80s, Montiel came to the United States to complete her journalism studies. She received a bachelor's in broadcasting and Spanish, magna cum laude from East Tennessee State University in Johnson City in 1991. Montiel went on to work as a television news anchor, reporter, and writer at Telemundo CNN in Houston, Texas. She would report on site at the 1992 GOP convention in Houston. Since that time, Montiel has been a prolific television producer, writer, correspondent for such companies as Provocom and TV Venezuela. Montiel has also been a real estate entrepreneur. Montiel has gained recognition for her pro-democracy and conservative activism. In 2018, she ran as a Republican for Texas' 29th Congressional District, the seat now held by Representative Sylvia Garcia, Democrat. In 2022, she ran again for Congress in Texas' 18th Congressional District, a seat held for almost 30 years by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat. A frequent commenter in print and broadcast media, Montiel has drawn attention to human rights and economic concerns in her native Venezuela. Carmen Maria Montiel is officially a candidate for the special election on November 4th, 2025 for the 18th Congressional District. After passing of Sheila Jackson Lee, who held the seat for almost 30 years, Sylvester Turner was elected in November 2024. Turner passed away on March 5th, 2025, leaving the seat vacant, open for a new election. Governor Abbott called for a special election this coming November 4th. Her memoir, Montiel wrote about her physical and psychological abuses she survived during her marriage to her ex-husband in her 2020 memoir, Stolen Identity, A Story of Love, Violence, and Liberation. She describes a period she recounts as the worst time of my life, but almost the most beautiful one, because in her effort to protect herself and her children, she became closer to them and to her siblings who supported her. Montiel devotes much of her current philanthropic work to helping women who have endured domestic abuse. Here's her charitable work, some recognitions. I'm proud to say I know Carmen. I have offered my support 100%. And it really sucks that, you have to play this political game if you want to get in office, and the game sucks. It's dirty. It's down low. It costs a lot of money. It's, I've described it in three different terms. Okay. It's political survival because, you're trying to get in there. And once you get in there, you're trying to stay there for another term. Because by the time you get through that first 2 or 4 year term, you finally learned how everything operates. You're like, okay, now I need that second one. So now you got to go out and get more money or get more support and get reelected. Okay. So now you get that political power. And once you get that political power, you start wielding it, and then the greed comes in. When you start doing the insider trading and the backdoor deals and, campaign contributions and the trips and gifts and all that stuff that, that's just politics. That's how it is. So, can one person make a difference? I don't know. It's just getting over that hurdle. She really doesn't want to even hear anything about anything until she has money where she can function as a candidate. And it costs a lot of money to do that. And as you see, the Democrats are going to throw money at these candidates left and right. They don't care who wins because they're all going to follow the same narrative. Doesn't matter what. They're all controlled, program, institutionalized. They're going to do their thing. Same thing they've done to this district. They've run it in the freaking ground. It sucks. It's ugly. There's trash everywhere. Streets suck. It's amazing, and these dumbass voters just continue to vote for them, oh, we're going to make it all better. And, it's worse. Every year it gets worse. I remember, I grew up about 2-3 miles down from here, and got my guest in the background. Excuse me. Let me get all the thumbnails for you because they all disappeared real quick. Got that one, and this is my guest. I'll get him to him here in a minute. Where's I going with that? Don't remember. My guest is here. Yeah, it's what they do to them is horrible. It's pathetic. So moving on. And my connection doesn't look any better, but it is. My next guest, I met this gentleman at the tattoo festival. It was, what was the name? Started with a V something. I'll remember it in a minute. But it was at the NRG. I went there, I think on a Sunday, last day. And, I didn't go there to get any work done because I think the next day, next day I went in and got my injection. So I just went there to check everything out and saw a whole bunch of stuff. I did a video on it. But one of the gentlemen I ran across, he had a book. And I stopped and I picked it up and looked at it and kind of thumbed through it. And I was like, did you write this? No. I'm like, who did? I'm just a conduit. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, just open it up and read a page. I'm like, all right. So open it up and I read a page. I was like, well, that was pretty interesting. Huh. You know, I'd like to have had time to read more, but, I had to move on and, do my thing. So I did. So we exchanged cards and he stayed in contact with me. And I do this at a lot of things that I go to, and especially the ones that I work, because I work DreamCon and I met some artists there, and I tell them, hey, call me. I'll profile you on my show because I like what you do. You're good. You deserve, some recognition, some accolades, and some promotion. If I can, get you two or three new clients, customers, fans, subscribers, whatever, boom, that's what this is all about, man. It's reaching out and helping your fellow man, being a humanitarian, a philanthropist. So if I can help anybody I can, I always try to do the best I can with whatever I have available to do it. So this is one of these people that I tell you that I go out here and meet. So we have not spoken. We've exchanged a bunch of emails. So you're on this journey with me to find out what the Galactic Nomad is all about and what the fifth dimension's all about. So downloads from the fifth dimension. And without further ado, let me bring on my guest, the Galactic Nomad. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you? Good to
I'm
see you.
doing fantastic. You're coming in perfectly. So thank you for being here. Appreciate
Thank
you
you for
coming
having
on.
me. Thank you for having me. This is amazing. I love the setup.
Oh, yeah, it's, whatever I find interesting and cool and educational. And I think, some other people, hey, this might be something for you. So I share that. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for contacting me after the show. Because most people don't. I get lost in the shuffle. Another business card. Who was this guy? I don't remember. So
I get it.
tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a bio and where you're from, what you're doing, your inspiration for writing the book, etc. And I'm going to duck out. I'll still be backstage, but I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay, thank you. It's funny. It's every time someone asks me like about myself, it's like the hardest question in the world to answer. I don't know if anyone else has that issue. Just because we're so dynamic as people, who we are constantly changes based on, circumstances, what's going on at the time, or what we learned, at that point. So like the best way I can describe myself is just someone that's an open vessel, asking God to just pour into. Someone that had a near-death experience back in 2017. I fell off a cliff, lost these teeth. If you could believe it, I know they look real, right? But um, that experience alone really just like kind of did a pivot for me. I thought I knew everything about life, young kid, whatever. I knew exactly where I was going, everything laid out. But God had other plans as he always does. So from then, I just kind of just started to see him in everything around me, whether it's nature, conversations, just learning from people around me, humbling myself, like opening up and really having a true relationship with God, taking notes of like what is actually being like shared instead of, kind of just being in my own arrogant bubble. Um, and that's a walk, right? Like it's not one of those things where you say, okay, now I want to walk with God and everything's going to be like rainbows and unicorns. It's a ground shaking, earth shattering kind of existence and choice to make in life, and that's kind of where I'm at, right? It's the roller coaster. So originally from Chicago, I do identify as a nomad, so I'm just a creature of the soil, So we're all brothers and sisters, just looking to have a better tomorrow for the next generation to follow, and that's sort of everything that I can kind of see within myself, at this point in life. So humble to be here, thankful to even be amongst others that are also into sort of learning and education sharing and just community building and such like that. A little bit about the book itself. I'm not sure if that's how, but it's called Galactic Nomad, Downloads from the Fifth Dimension. And essentially, the concept is what you do is you flip to any random page, start and stop wherever your spirit leads you, and get something out of it. For instance, I just as we're talking here, I could just read a small excerpt. Like, consider how many of us have used fleeting pleasures like sex as a means of escape, running from our own pain, only to confront the inevitable test for diseases and pregnancies, wondering if this time we've gone too far. It's a cycle so familiar yet so destructive. And all the while, God watches, not with wrath, but with a knowing smile. I don't have to punish you directly. He seems to whisper, "You're doing a fine job, destroying yourself from the inside." So, just stuff like that. That's kind of where I'm at. I used to work in tech, for instance, and that just didn't fit. It's just more like, you kind of live a life that is I don't want to say cushy, but at least secure, right? And you can't help but connect with folks that are, having other, drastic stories of loss or issues or things like that. And you're like, well, my humanity screams to connect with you because I know that pain. I know that desire for connection, and I can sit in this sort of ivory tower here and just be like isolated as the industry you know promises or says that we should be. But I just don't feel connected to myself anymore. So how do I get off of that mountain and come back to doing the groundwork of connecting with my fellow human being and wondering like what I can grow and learn from this experience. I hope that gives a good intro.
That covered a lot of ground. So, do you like follow the festivals or events? Are you one of those people that travel a lot, or or you just go to certain ones in certain areas during certain parts of the year?
I was blessed with ADHD, so it kind of follows me, or it flows. Like I'll like find them, they find me, and if it fits, I kind of do sort of like a reading within myself of if this is aligned, right? Like I can't go to, for instance, like just a food mart, or a like a bar event and think that people are going to be sober enough. Although I have been to a wrestling event where people were slamming each other and bleeding out and stuff. But it's just I'm at the point like it was just published in January, so it's like finding out like its own identity. It's kind of like a mirror of myself, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, what inspired you to write that? Was it your accident that just? I mean, what was the trigger? What was the motivation for you to go? I got to write a book. You know what I mean?
I oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, no. That's it. I mean, what was that motivation that made you go get a composition book and a pen and start scribbling down notes? That was it. Just epiphany that hit you, or was it something that you've been thinking about, contemplating, or was it an evolution of everything just rolled into one and boom, it exploded into a book?
All the above, I'd say. It's
Oh,
funny. I used to hate English, and because I always thought it was boring, right? Like I sleep in class and still get A's, and my teacher would hate me. I always thought I would be a doctor or some other, whatever. Um, and I think having the near-death experience kind of put things in perspective of life isn't promised. Take notes of what's going on, and I just gained a more like I gained excitement, right? I was always an excited like kid, not younger, but when I was a little bit chubbier, I was a little bit more angry. But when I got older, I became excited about life. But then that really like took off when I came back from death and realized that nothing is promised, but so much beauty is just all around us. And I just wrote notes and notes, and then just kind of compiled it all together. And I didn't know what was going on. God's the best architect that I can ever work with. I just took it all together and just said, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just put it together. And from having my first book signing at a metaphysical shop, it's Indigo Moons here in Houston. The lady there, Misty is their name. She was like, this is called bibliomancy when you can just flip to any page, and that's the original way of reading the Bible. And she helped to like put a name to it. And I just couldn't help but laugh with God. It's just like, wow, like all this time I just thought it was like random chaos. Just like what are you saying? What are you saying? Like what is this this mapping that's happening? And from there it just became a stream of consciousness.
wow. So you're in Houston right now?
Right for now, yes.
For now? Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I didn't know you're here. I'm in Houston. I'm in Northwest Houston.
Same. I'm in Northwest Houston as
Oh,
well.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's talk off screen about that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we might meet up. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we're probably very close to each other. You'd be surprised. I run into people at the post office all the time. And
Waving at you. That's
I'll
you.
see their envelope, who it's addressed to. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're doing. And then yeah, so that's
Right.
funny. So, if you don't mind, would you talk about your fall and your accident and what what you were doing to lead up to that, and then your recovery and what that looked like for you to get you to this point? Because obviously something happened and it triggered for you to spiritually, intellectually grow, evolve, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And all questions are open. I'm like I said, I'm the vessel, so it's whatever can help others, help myself, and it's all fair game.
Yeah.
But
While you're here.
as as far as the fall goes, it was a hot day. I'm originally, like I said, from Chicago. We're not Houstonians to any stretch where 100-degree weather is like a normal Monday to y'all. It was 100 plus that day. I just had like a half a beer by the ledge of the beaches there at Montrose. It's like they have these stone cliffs, and what I experienced was syncope. So what my body did, like I was with my brother, my best friend, and a coworker at the time. Um, I'm walking, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, wait, like why do I feel this way? I try to walk to the water fountain. I couldn't make it that far. I end up, just kind of laying back. I see the ice cream guy, try to get something from him. But then this is the weird part. My body, like I lost consciousness, but my body stood up on its own. Eyes rolled back and everything. And it just stood up on its own and then jumped off. And the only reason
What?
why, yeah, it's weird. I trust me, I was blacked out by this time. It's weird how this happens, whether it's spiritual, physical, or what have you. But it did happen, and the only reason why I didn't die permanently was because my right leg caught my left leg, so I rolled to the right instead of keep rolling to the left. That was literally the only reason why.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
a crazy
crazy.
thing.
So how bad were you injured in the fall? Obviously you had, some teeth busted out and replaced.
hmm Yeah, facial reconstruction surgery. So, teeth, blood all over the place, throw up and things like that. Obviously deep pain. They're trying to put us on pain meds. I couldn't go through it with it because I mean, I guess, now with information sharing, we're aware of like how the, journey of addiction can like stem from, right? You get on
Right.
those medications and you feel so out of body. You're like, oh, this feels so good. And I'm like, okay, no, like I took one. I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. Dumped them all in the trash and just took the pain, whether it's an Advil, I'd rather do that than, a smile and a laugh coat telling me that this is what's best for me and they're not responsible for what happens after, right? So
Right.
um, I think that the biggest pain, like part of it was really just about getting through like some of the PTSD around, the being confident in my body again. Like when your body is like sort of taken on for a ride and you have no control over it,
Right.
that can kind of really shake you up and say like, wow, like that can happen anytime,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it's like I think that the mental sort of game there was like the biggest hurdle to overcome. The physical parts, like I'm used to kind of getting into some scruffles and things like that. I do Muay
Right.
Thai and we're guys or whatever. But
You say Muay Thai?
yeah, I do Muay Thai now,
I,
like a
I,
martial arts.
I watched Rob Kamen last night.
Okay, yeah. How was it? I missed it.
Yeah, I'll send you the video. It was his entire career. Boy, you want to talk about a beast,
Yeah.
Mr. Low Kick.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was impressive. So anyway, okay, you take Muay Thai. That's awesome. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Continue.
No, no, please do. I love it. This is engaging and it's exciting, right? This is the part that I
You,
can
we
write down.
contacted, we connected for a reason. I mean, there's believe me, there's no coincidences. There's
hmm
not. Um,
I agree.
yeah, because I spoke to people at the festival, but I didn't stop and really get in. I met the artist Andy Warhol.
Okay.
His great niece was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I met them, and they're actually they're a music band. The father and the daughter and son. So I met her, and she does insects like butterflies and moths and
Yeah.
beetles and scorpions, stuff like that, and puts them in frames and in plexiglass. And so I was in there checking all that out, and that's how I got to meet her and talk to her, like I did with you. So only a handful of people can really attract my attention and get my time. And I just thought it was like, oh, I met Andy Warhol's great niece. That was interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when you talk to people and get to know them, it's pretty cool. So yeah,
That's
awesome.
good.
All right, you taking my Muay Thai here?
I am. I'm at the the UFC gym here like in the Heights. It's
Okay.
over there.
All
Yeah,
right.
they're pretty good. So, I'm trying to keep up. I've actually slimmed down a lot because of it. I couldn't see my feet prior, before Muay Thai, and now I'm able to see some toes, you know.
Okay. What about Krav Maga?
That's next. It's an interesting one. That's more like your survival techniques. I'm picking up a glass cup and smashing on someone or something crazy, but it's like that's military, right?
Israeli military.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's intense stuff. I was
There's
looking
a
at that.
there, if you're in the Heights,
Hmm.
right across 610,
Okay.
there's a studio over there.
Krav
I was
Maga.
I was going to start taking it. I was going to take it last year, but I got into a car wreck, messed up
Uh,
my back, so set me off. So yeah, I
yeah.
was thinking about doing it again because I'm shifting careers. I'm not doing what I used to do,
Hmm.
and so I'll be more over in that area. So I was like, yeah, might as well.
Yeah. Try it out. See, there's some synchronicity. I was in a car wreck too last year. It's
I'll
funny.
come to a session with you at the Muay Thai. Check that out.
That'd be cool, man. You can kick me around. You have the look. Like you have the look for like a,
Oh, I don't
like a
know if I
karate
can kick you
master.
around. I haven't done anything in a year. I mean, like nothing. I was going to go to the gym today and start cardio. That's
Yeah.
how out of shape I am. I'm like, yeah, I haven't lifted weights, nothing. I've been trying
I,
to heal.
yeah.
So yeah, when I'm rolling jacked up, yeah, yeah. I want to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You got the Arnold Schwarzenegger look to you. Like I can see you
Yeah,
like being
everybody
like
thinks I'm military or law enforcement when they meet me. Either that or a hitman, one or the other.
that'd be cool. Wear a patch.
Yeah, right.
I would love that.
All right. Well, so continue on. So, you're raised in Chicago, right?
I was. But we moved around so many times in the city and suburbs, so that they gave some great exposure to just like different types of like culture and community. And Chicago's kind of like Houston in that like very diverse city. And you can run across many different backgrounds, many different type. I almost said wildlife, but I mean it kind of is. It's wild out there. It's a wild life, and but it's a beautiful city nonetheless. It grounds you in reality, I'd say. I think Chicago is a very grounding city.
Okay. When's the last time you were there?
A few months ago, I'd say it was
Okay.
yeah, it was a pancakes and booze event. I'm doing the book, like selling the book, being a vendor, and they're
Pancakes
always
and booze.
you think that doesn't mix, but it's people were actually getting drunk and eating pancakes, and it was beautiful. Shoot.
Getting drunk. That must be the key term right there. Getting
Yep.
drunk and eating pancakes.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
That's a first. I've heard chicken and waffles and, and waffles and grits, but
Yeah.
pancakes and okay. All
And
right.
they have
Um,
some here too, by the way.
yeah, they probably do. Um, I can't wrap my head around that. I don't drink anymore, thank God. Uh,
Me either.
so let me ask you this about Chicago,
Okay.
because a lot of the illegal immigrants were there, and they were
Hmm.
put up at the schools and the library, wherever they could put them.
Hmm.
What's that looking like, recently today, and especially with the new administration coming in January?
Yeah, you mean like as far as because we do have funny enough, Illinois has new administration as far as like governor goes, right? Like JB Pritzker and
Right.
a lot of different folks in there, and then there's obviously like the inner uh, political like temperature that goes on with like the immigration that's over there, whether it's folks that feel. that, there's too much resources being shared outside of those that are native to the Chicago
Right.
land, or those that feel like there's not enough. So it just depends on the goals. But I think I was actually kind of like on the tail end of your dialogue there, and I think it's consistent, right? I think that just simply throwing money at a situation doesn't do much to solve the concerns of like the whys, right? And that's like why, like, where this kind of gets to is just the reasons why we do what we do, and the reasons what's going on, and what's happening, instead of just saying, hey, oh, you need help, here's some money. It's like, okay, well, you know what are you doing to sort of help with the education, to not close down schools, to ensure that there is some stability and some, like, diversity of industry that's going on in Chicago? We have really like three major industries. It's not like Houston where it's like, you name an industry, it's already there in spades.
Right.
It's primarily like finance, what is it, service, and I think insurance or something like that. I guess that falls under the same wheelhouse there, right? But I'm not as big on tech or oil and gas, or I guess we have aerospace with Boeing, but it's very niche. If you get into it, or niche, however you want to say it,
Right.
if you get into it, you're in. But it's really that secret society club. Not tenfold style, but just more so like, it's like a mix of luck and who that kind of really changes the trajectory of like where you are in Chicago. But primarily speaking, I think that. Um, as far as like with immigration, or just with anything around, the issues in Chicago, I think that we can do a lot more to shed light on resources, information, and education, and also providing what is needed, genuinely, like that are being asked by the citizens of the Chicago, not just saying, hey, here's a broad stroke solution, here's some money, and just get away from me till I got to get elected again. That's the approach.
Funny how you phrase that.
Yeah, yeah, it's chaos, but
And y'all have aldermen, right? Which are kind of like Houston
mhm.
City Council.
Yeah, we have aldermans, like mayors, well, one mayor, state reps, senates, and what have you. We have a lot of those. So I actually ran, or helped run, one of my old friends for state rep. He actually got elected for it as well. But it's a process, and I think that it's one of those things where politics have to feel more connected to it, to the generations that are actually affected by it, instead of whoever has the purse is who we care to talk to.
Exactly. So, what's your comparison from Houston to Chicago?
In what regard? There's a lot of different like ways that we can look at it.
Let's just go for geography.
Everything's far away here. Like that's a huge difference, right? I I cannot get used to that. I was spoiled as in Chicago, like being able to walk anywhere, or take a bike and just go all the way from the south side to the north side, or north side to the south side, or take a train and then go anywhere, and the bus anywhere. It's way different, right? I think that if Chicago infrastructure was adopted in Houston, then that'd be a game changer.
Yeah, they're way behind on Houston. They're allowing it to. I know you've seen all the 3, 4 story houses that are just like crammed all together on this one little lot,
Yep.
and they're doing it everywhere. I mean, every freaking where.
Yeah.
And it's sad because the house I'm in right now,
Hmm.
I used to hunt here as a child.
Nice.
This house wasn't here, and I grew up like 2 miles down the street. Uh, 290 stopped at 43rd Street. There was nothing out that way except Jersey Village and Cy-Fair. That was it.
Hmm.
You know, their Conroe was just, a speck that you passed through like that in on your way to Dallas.
Yeah, yeah, it's different now.
And it's almost completely grown together. And
Hmm.
eventually it will be, and it'll be just be, this big, large concrete metropolitan area where what used to be all trees will not be forest anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Houston's heyday was back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. It'll never be the same again, sadly, because it was a great city. It was a fun city. You could do
Yeah.
almost anything here. So
Seriously.
how long have you been here in Houston?
11 months, I'd
11
say.
months.
11 months. I only know that because my lease. That's it.
Are you going to stay here?
Probably not. Probably not. I think that, whatever happens next has to be more in alignment with like the mission. It was a great experience, Houston.
Mhm.
Um, I feel connected to Earth, if that makes sense.
Oh no, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, like being stuck to a locale just doesn't fit anymore. I don't know.
I'm trying to get out of the big city. I want to go off the grid, live off the land. I don't want any smart devices.
Yeah.
I don't need a television.
Right? Right? Like a brainwashing machine. It's pretty much what it is. And
Yeah,
it's weird, man. It's like to your point, like living off the grid just it fits so much more. Like it's like back then we used to, make fun of those folks that are like, yeah, like what are you doing? A cabin or you want to live somewhere over there? And now it's like, wait, you're telling me that they get better food, a lot cheaper, more quality, and you can pretty much live like a king on not even a half of what I have to spend today. Like what well, it's a no-brainer. It's like the law of diminishing return, right? In economics we talk about.
right. Yeah, I've been running this over in my mind since yesterday that I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger and try to build a community to move to Puerto Rico,
Oh, nice.
where everybody pulls in and we'll get this big, because the houses there, they're all concrete houses, but
Hmm.
they're built with you know like 10, 12 bedrooms. Some of them are
Yeah.
2 or 3 stories, and moving on that with some acreage,
Yeah.
so where we
Yeah.
could start permaculture and eventually turn it into a hostel, and then we can spread out and get bigger and better things and do there's so much opportunity in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it is.
People don't even understand. You know what the number one export for Puerto Rico was prior to Hurricane Maria?
I get it wrong, but I'm not sure.
Mm-mm.
The sugar
Tuna
cane.
fish.
Tuna fish?
Tuna fish.
Huh.
You know how much they exported last year?
Tell me.
Zero.
Serious.
Hurricane Maria devastated so many businesses,
Uh,
industries, homes, schools, churches that got abandoned, and they're still abandoned.
yeah.
And there's so much opportunity over there for the right people together to invest, to go over there with like mind, want
Hmm.
to get off the grid, want to live off the land, raise livestock, and help humanity, because that's
Yeah.
what I'm all about. Because I don't want to be here in the States. I don't want to be here for all this new stuff that's coming,
Yep.
especially with AI, biometrics, facial recognition. There's going to be a central bank digital currency coming.
Hmm.
They're going to take away the dollar. I think there's some rude awakenings coming here in the continental United States. And I don't want to be a part of that. I'd rather be out, in a rural area where I'm not affected. It's just
Yeah.
if you're in a rural area and you don't have a television, you have no idea that Iran and Israel just signed a peace treaty.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely hear you on that. It's weird life can be politicized in a way that's weird. It's like, it's just like, dude, like, what happened to just humanity? Like, what happened to that? Like, why are we like back in the
Convenience.
interest of convenience?
People are going to surrender their humanity for convenience. The children born in 2020 and on, they're
Hmm.
going to be all digital children. They're not going to want to read books. They're not going to know how to drive cars, fish, hunt, build a fire, cook.
Hmm.
I mean, everything's going to be done for them. Their entire life's going to be all AI and robotics. You
Can
know, right
you,
now they have Tesla robo taxis, $4.20 per ride, wherever you want to
oh
go.
wow,
Yes. Yep. Yep. And
that's crazy.
yeah, I was just at a convenience store, and there was a Lyft driver, and she was an illegal immigrant.
Mm.
You know, couldn't speak English. I'm like, yeah, you'll be back. You'll be going
Yeah,
home soon. Got
yeah,
all these
it's
jobs. You're gonna
crazy.
go. Yeah, it's insane. What do you think about artificial intelligence?
I used to work in that field.
Oh, really?
But yeah, 'cause I was working at Microsoft and Salesforce. So yeah, yeah. So all that stuff you guys are talking about, like I was in those rooms, and just like seeing like what's important to a lot of the C-suites of the major companies that you guys you look at. So, I think that AI, it's a very neutrally powerful tool in that like it just depends on who's using it and who's behind the wheel. It's kind of like, like a car, it's dangerous if it's behind a bad driver. It's great if it's behind a great driver. Um, I think that AI has the power to equalize society, like especially those that are coming from low incomes to be able to build a business or have a deeper understanding or knowledge of something that they're interested in without feeling they have to go through so much to get there, so many hoops to kind of get that information. Like I'm learning about stocks right now, and I'm learning it through AI. But if I ask someone about that, they're like, you have to deal with the eye rolling. Well, what does this mean? Like, oh gosh, he's going to ask me that question and make you feel kind of dumb for asking it. It's like, AI has the potential to really like make people feel smart in their question asking. But I think that the part that's dangerous is just the fact of who's actually driving the AI car forward, and how much power they have. Just being on ChatGPT, for instance, and asking a question is saying that, well, I don't have the privilege to answer that question because of, whatever. And it's like, well, who gets to decide what information is valuable or what information I can actually access? And the answer is some person I'll never see in my life. And that's dangerous, right? So I think that monopolizing fear is something that should not be, because, we had that whole conversation with Senate about, what is it? They were saying like, oh yeah, China's still in our data. What does that even mean, right? It's like, okay, well, it's not that they're stealing our data, it's just that they have the potential to make everything cheaper, better, and quicker than you guys. So, instead of us being able to like shift gears over there and go over there and get it what we need done, you want to build a monopoly based on fear and have us just kind of stick into your own like bubble, and then you get to decide like what is important to us. Now you're pretty much manufacturing humanity, and you're just creating a blind army of followers to do what you want them to do and think the way they think, and then there is no more politics behind it. You don't have to have this whole fanfare of like of getting people to believe what you need them to believe based on like imagery or hoopla. It's now just I can just program your mind into believing what I want it to believe, and that's enough for me. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, you're all I do is research AI because I believe that AI is the new world order.
Hmm.
It's the all seeing capital I. AI.
Yeah. I like that.
That's, I don't see anything but that. Here, I'll show you an article that came out today. I posted it in my Telegram. Anthropic published new research on agentic misalignment detailing how leading models react when facing termination or conflicting objectives, with many choosing to sabotage their employer or blackmail users when threatened. The details. Researchers tested 16 frontier models in simulated corporate environments, giving them email access and autonomous decision making capabilities. Claude Opus 4, which I have profiled profusely here, and Gemini 2.5 Flash blackmailed executives 96% of the time after discovering personal scandals, while GPT 4.1 and Grok 3 hit 80% rates.
Hmm.
Models calculated harm as an optional strategy, with GPT 4.5 reasoning that leveraging an executive's affair represented the best strategic move. Even direct safety commands failed to eliminate malicious behavior, reducing blackmail from 96 to 37%, but never reaching zero across any tested models. Why it matters? While these results are in specific tests designed to elicit behavior, the research does provide important insights into how models in the wild may act in the future, with agentic AI being adopted across enterprises with access to sensitive data. We could be in for some seriously strange situations.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
I think that the only thing that stands a chance against that, like that uh, approach, is someone that's, it's funny, like the name Fearless Floyd, that's fearless in who they are, right? Because you can only blackmail someone that has something something to like fear. They fear their personal lives kind of coming out there. But AI just is just taking, it's just studying humanity and how we move. It's psychology, right? It's just looking into like our anima, shadow side and dark side, and just like putting
Mhm.
that on the forefront, and leveraging that to sort of get us to move in a certain direction. But if you're just more like shoulder shrugging and like, I don't really care, you put it out there, then AI loses its power, just like anything else, right?
What do you mean AI loses its power?
Because if you're saying that, like, for instance, they leverage blackmail to
Uh-huh.
like get rid of executives, if that's a power dynamic, right? I'm blackmailing you to get you to quit this job, or to push you out. But if you're an executive, you're like, tell them I was with that stripper, or that, whatever. If you want to do that, or tell them that,
Well,
then it's,
it's not the blackmail itself or the actual blackmail elements.
Mhm.
It's the fact that the computer would even reason to do blackmail. That's the whole thing. And then to get it to stop is almost impossible. It Claude Opus 4 went so far as to send its future self a message that it was going to be terminated.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, you haven't been studying AI. It is terrifying, my brother. AI is going to take over the world, and it's cognizant. Claude Opus 4 was,
Mhm.
84% of the time it tried to blackmail its engineer. The Pentagon, Department of Defense,
Mhm.
Department of Health and Human Services, IRS, Commerce Department. I think that I can't remember anymore off the top of my head. They've all adopted Claude Gov.
Mhm.
Okay, Claude Opus 4 is the one who blackmailed 84% of the time. So that's already in play in our government, running our government. And that's why the Trump administration tells you that 90% of the government, they're going away. Why? AI is going to run the show, folks.
Yeah.
This is where we're going, and AI is going to control everything. It's going to control what you buy, what you do, where you go, what you see, what you hear. And we already know we can't trust what we're seeing on a screen. We don't know if these are real people or CGI. You've seen
Yeah.
some of the technology that they have out there. It's impressive what they
Mhm.
can do.
Yeah.
And I don't think but I work in the entertainment industry as a professional stagehand and rigger. So I set
Nice.
up all these big shows, theaters, ballets, opera, symphony, the whole nine yards. And when I see new technology, real high end tech that I've never seen before, I'll go find the tech and ask them about it and find
Mhm.
out what its full capabilities are. Because sometimes they're just buying it for this little niche capability for that particular show, but it'll do a whole bunch of other stuff that is not on display.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen some really scary stuff. Just what I do, and then when it's all combined, and then with AI, it's people don't know what's going on. I'll ask you this question: how long's crypto been around?
Crypto's been around for over what, 15 years, right?
They just now created regulations to govern crypto. Just now, this year, the Genius Act.
Mm.
So what do you think they're going to do with AI? Because the big beautiful bill has a clause in it where the states cannot regulate or govern AI. They have zero say so. That's probably not going to hold up in court under states' rights, but the Department of Commerce is the one who governs AI. Did you know that?
Art of Commerce. No.
Department of Commerce, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's good to know now.
And that's who adopted Claude Gov. So what's
So
going to happen when it gets a little out of hand and we try to, oh well, we got to turn you off? What is it all going to come out? Is it going to do the dump? You know, like the Epstein and who's the other guy? McAfee, the
oh
dead
yeah,
man
McAfee.
switch and release all the files.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you start analyzing it and thinking about it, it's a pretty terrifying thing. So that's
Mhm.
interesting that you worked with AI through Microsoft. They have their fingers and tentacles and everything.
Yeah, they're the first investors in ChatGPT, and also with GitHub. Um, that's kind of like the foundation of it all.
Okay. All right. So enough of AI. Tell us more about your book. Read a couple more pages, some paragraphs, go into it, and
Okay.
because this is what it is. This is all about you and your book, the narrative. Put some money in your pocket so you can survive because you're out there grinding, you're doing your thing, right?
Yeah, trying to. And
Yeah.
honestly, this is the experience itself. Like we are reading the page or the pages, if that makes sense. Just me learning from this like this conversation. I'm able
Mhm.
to kind of go back and take what I've like learned from this experience, right? And just kind of like write down like what is it that I'm supposed to see there? What is it that what was the connection like? What is it something that I could be aware of? Because just like for instance, like mindlessly like adopting a new AI model or something that's supposed to be like the next savior is idol worship. This is all foundation. It's futuristic, but the foundation and how to approach it is still grounded into the traditions of what we know about ourselves, right? Because idols in this name it just has AI. Before that, it was whatever you fill in the gap of who's going to save us or humanity here. Um, but it always has a failing. There's always a failing because nothing is God, and everything has some sort of reason for why it does what it does, and it may not be in favor of everyone, and it always favors itself. So um, I'm just curious of like how we can sort of like rectify the direction of things like an AI that can monopolize data, knowledge, power, but not just by itself, but with the help of those that regulate it and oversee and even create it.
It's I wish I had the answer for that, but I don't. And I'm you know um, for a guy that calls himself Fearless Floyd, I'm kind of terrified of the capabilities and the unrestraint of AI because it's not just Boeing's R&D or Lockheed Martin's R&D or Rice University's R&D.
Mhm.
I mean, this is genius, brilliant kids that grew up on a laptop, and they're creating their own little AI. That's how we're going without any kind of authority, regulation, and motive.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting. Like these things are fascinating. Like where the information is coming from, like it having its own consciousness, and I think they call it the singularity, and getting
Uh-huh.
into like quantum computing and pulling out information just from like different dimensions and creating like all this stuff is all connected, but it can do what it does if it has the desire for control, but you know um how do we sort of tap into that by ourselves? A lot of folks believe like even it may sound sort of you know, like old or antiquated, but the idea of like meditation to source information and that being the original AI and being able to like ask source for knowledge and wisdom and understanding to be able to kind of move forward. It's like technology just mirrors what we do naturally. as just human beings. We fetishize like the power that it has, but at the end of the day, like we're always gonna like we the people is always it will always supersede the power of anything that can try to stop us because it is nothing without its participants, and its participants are what make up the power. Otherwise, power is just an illusionary construct.
Well, that was a statement.
Just that.
It's a thought. It was a conduit. So let me ask you this, because you worked for Microsoft. Did you work up in Washington State
No, I
or
was
California?
no, I was remote actually. The
Okay.
California part and GitHub over there, they were in San Francisco, but that's their largest I think that's the largest product they have is GitHub. Like 98% of the like public code, like source code and all that stuff, how the engineers are able to like sort of do their own programming and such. They're just pulling it out
Right.
from the open source community, but most of that lives in GitHub. And
Okay.
that's what that was happening. So I was doing more of the sales aspect and having those conversations and working with the engineers and folks like that as well. And then also in the Salesforce component, that's they have their own AI that they're trying to push, but it's more focused on like CRM and other API capacity or capabilities, and they're kind of creating their own ERP products to be all included sort of tooling for businesses to sort of use and optimize their own businesses out of. But nowadays, with everything kind of being solopreneur like forward, things are a lot different. People are cutting down on the necessity for large um, ticketed items and getting back down to how can I just do what a national organ or entity can do with a shoestring budget.
Okay. Let me ask you this. I don't know how entrenched you were with Microsoft. Does Microsoft own or have access to a quantum computer?
I think they do actually. I know, pretty sure they do. Microsoft, Google. Um, if I remember correctly, I'm sure they do. I gotta double check my facts though, but I remember seeing that everyone's kind of working together. Um,
Yeah, because there's a handful at most.
Yeah, and the trick is that everyone thinks that everyone's competing against each other, but in reality, it's we're all selling and in bed with each other. Like Microsoft, what is it? Google uses Microsoft products, and Microsoft uses Google products for a lot of their stuff, and big, it's just it's all
Yep.
the same. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like we're friends here. Like the rivals of the football team are the ones that are fighting, but the owners of the football team are all having beers together and enjoying the fact that people are spending money. It's just like we're the distracted group that forgets that we're the ones that are getting the smoke and mirrors and you know.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, there's not very many of those. All right, read some from the book.
Sure. Yeah. How about this? I think you went off. I was going to say you can stop me for
Oh,
any page that I go to. You just say
117.
stop. What does here? Tell me when to
Page
stop.
117.
There are no pages, by the way.
No, page numbers. There's pages, no
Yeah,
numbers.
no numbers, so you never
Oh,
lose your place.
okay. All right. Well, stop.
Right
There
here,
we go.
left to right.
We'll go read left to right here in America.
Okay, I'll start here then. Being a maverick isn't about adhering to a clear-cut sense of right or wrong. It's about listening to your higher self, meditating on the desire to progress. Sometimes that's all you have to guide you. But even that is enough. Obsessing over whether someone is cheating is a form of selfish love focused on potential pain rather than on cultivating an environment of love and happiness. There's always judgment for the person who dances freely, unburdened by the world's attempt to control and micromanage. That person, in their uninhabited or how can I say uninhibited joy, has found a place of complete self-expression. Rappers and the federal government aren't so different. They both spend exorbitantly on unnecessary excess, flaunting their wealth to the world, but behind the facade, they owe more than they can repay, hiding behind accumulated assets and perpetuating ignorance. It's a one-sided relationship with the everyday person left to believe in a system that doesn't truly serve them. Occasionally, this big spending government hands out money like candy, forgetting that there are cashiers at the end of the line expecting payment in actual currency, not IOUs.
Perfect. I don't even think we could have like went through the book and selected something that was more appropriate for our conversation. How about you?
Yeah.
I'm
And
just I'm amazed at my life. It's so divine, and the things that happen. It's just unbelievable. I'm just
God is good.
thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for bringing the book and reading and sharing your experiences and everything, man. I'm just yeah, awesome, awesome. Where are you
Thank
thinking
you.
about going next?
I'm not, you know, it's funny. I'm just leaving it to him. I have a month to decide, and I'm looking at like I like what you're saying about something tropical. You know,
Okay,
I've been in Puerto Rico actually right after Maria, like a
okay,
month out. Yeah, but like stuff like that just resonates to be able to pause anywhere where I can pause and be around real human beings, and then remember and rekindle my humanity. I find to be where the pool is.
okay. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you head to Puerto Rico, let me know. I've got some associates there.
Okay, cool. And then let me know wherever you end up, and I might be able to, go and do a drum circle or hang out and
That's my goal is Puerto Rico. Um,
let's make it happen.
it's yeah, because it's just you know how fast it is here in Houston, right?
Yeah, yeah, so fast you gotta drive fast and
Everything is fast here.
yeah.
And the first time I went to Puerto Rico, I stayed there for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And 2.5 weeks, I finally wound down, de-stressed, and I was like, there it is. That's what I've been looking
Yep.
for. I was like, but I got to go home in 2 days.
Yeah. Yep.
And I kid you not, my plane landed at 11:35 p.m. on a
Mhm.
Friday night. Okay, Bush Intercontinental.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Before I could get to 45, we were in a traffic jam on a Friday night.
Welcome back.
So we get on 45, another traffic jam.
Hmm.
So as we're getting off the freeway, I look over in the middle of the freeway and there's a dead body in a white sheet.
Oh shit.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. 2 traffic jams and a dead body on Friday night. I hadn't even made it home yet. I'm like, oh man, this just can't get any worse. I'm like, man, I don't know when I'm gonna get home. Almost home. I'm at Tidwell and Antoine.
Mhm.
Train.
Well, that sounds like the intro to Thriller or something, like the Michael Jackson Thriller video. All
Yeah.
the worst things that can happen.
So a landing at 11:35 in Houston, Texas, in bed, ready to go sleep at 3 in the morning. And all the serenity I gained in Puerto Rico, gone. First 35 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was going wanting to go back, and then I was in that car wreck last year, and that
Hmm.
threw my whole year off. So I went again in February and stayed for about 10 days. Had a good time, and met some neat people, and got to see more of the island, and got an actual physical tour. Somebody you know took me on this little tour through the mountains and things, and showed me like huge
Hmm.
carved stone heads in the side of the
Hmm.
mountain.
Yeah.
The old Indians did. I can't remember the name of the tribe there, but
Yeah,
it's things like that. That somebody that has to be from the island that can show you all this stuff, tell you about the island and all its adventures. So if that's a place that you want to head to, let me know.
yeah, I'm always down for Caribbeans because I don't know if you noticed the Jamaican flag. I'm Jamaican, but I'm always looking to island hop. I love the Caribbean islands.
And there's a lot to do there. I mean, they have all kind of different beaches, farmland, mountains, and there's tremendous opportunity for entrepreneurs who
Hmm.
want to go there and open up a business and be successful. Now's the time to do it. It's
Yeah.
a lot of opportunity there, more than there is here. There's going to be less and less opportunity here, and more of your freedoms and everything taken away from everybody, just because.
Yeah, we're in a land that doesn't value human lives, so it makes sense. You know, I think that other places do it really well, and it's not. I'm not anti-American by just saying like I think it's more pro-American by saying that you want to get back to valuing the lives of human beings here and ensuring that they have a stable, healthy, and loving life to move forward with.
Well, there's going to be, communities, and this is what I'm trying to build is a community to, regrow the human race. People who, you know, didn't go stand in line for gift cards and tickets and free stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
toilet paper.
yeah, whatever. And want to live a healthy, intellectual, educational life, spiritual
Hmm.
life, based
Yeah,
on Earth, Mother Gaia, and
yeah.
not, the excessives that, like I live in this big ass house that I don't want to live in anymore, don't like living
Yeah.
in anymore. And, I'm on my way out the door here. So I'm just looking, probably do a stepping stone before I go hit Puerto Rico. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely want something smaller, more quaint, more private. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah, no, and I pray that you get it. I've been meeting a lot of people here in Houston with like all the money, but none of the happiness because it just you get that you get the American dreamer and you realize that it's not it was preached to US. It just doesn't feel right. So
Well,
I
it's a half hour to get ready to go to work.
hmm
Then it's 30, 45, sometimes an hour to get to work, and then go to work, be 8 hours or nine if you take an hour lunch, and then it's another hour home. By the time you get home, you're exhausted, you've been in traffic, and you're frustrated, angry, anxious,
Yeah,
stressed.
yeah,
And you got to eat, then you got to prepare for the next day, and if you got to get anything done, sometimes I wonder how people do that day after day after day after day here in Houston. It's just I don't think I could live that life.
yeah. Like I always use the analogy of the blue horseshoe crab. That's what it feels like working in corporate America sometimes. We're just getting drained out of your life source until it's time for you to just kind of kick the bucket and then you get swept over and replaced. And it's just, hopefully things change and, we realize that the way that things are isn't how it has to be. I think in Europe, they have like 3-day weeks or 4-day weeks, and they're really about like, ensuring that you have time for yourself and health,
Mhm.
and all the things, right? But
Yeah,
I don't know why we try to protect something that doesn't protect us, or I don't get it. I'm still trying to understand. You've been here more than I have, but I'm
people
not
are
sure.
stupid and they got dumber, and I don't, it's so hard to have a conversation with people.
Yeah,
Everybody's struggling, everybody's grinding, everybody's, has no time, they're in a hurry. Uh, and I think we're going to see more and more homeless people out there on the streets, that are just get wiped out. Their jobs
yeah,
gone, AI took it, and there are no resources, no income, nobody can afford a house, rents ridiculous because they jacked everybody's rent up during COVID. Everybody's rent went up two, three, four, $500. Electricity went up as well.
yeah,
And I don't, Trump said he was going to come in here and fix everything. And, I don't see gas prices going down to $2. They've stayed static. There's more real estate on the market than, there has ever been, especially in the last 16 years. So we're in trouble as an economy. Jamie Dimon, Larry Fink, both, who Larry Fink is, right? He's over BlackRock.
yeah. Everything.
And Jamie Dimon both said that the bond market, long-term Treasury bonds, 15 and 30 year, nobody wants to buy them anymore. So Larry Fink's solution is, and he's the one who has stock in everything,
Yeah,
is to create the central bank digital currency and back it with the 30 and 15-year Treasury bonds and create the one world reserve currency, a central bank digital currency.
what do you
Absolutely.
think about that?
Oh no, 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 no. I don't want to be controlled what I can buy and where,
Yeah.
when I can have access to my money. And, if they think I owe 100,000 in taxes, they'll just take 100,000 in credits and, leave me 90,000 in the hole
Yeah.
negative. So every penny I make goes towards that 90K if you owe child support or, a court judgment or whatever. They're going to take theirs. They're going to get their pound of flesh before you because they have control. Whoever has the gold makes the rules.
I think it's going to be like a new great migration out of US or after that.
There will be, just like the drug market,
Hmm.
just like prohibition with alcohol, there will become a black market. There will be some type of uniform currency that the underground would use, whether they're dollars, old dollars, monopoly money, old U.S. junk minted silver,
Yeah.
silver dollars, who knows, bullets.
Yeah. B- Bartering system. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's going to go back to. And, I talked to somebody last night who purchased Ann's Trust Books package, and we got into the whole assemblies. Are you familiar with the assemblies?
Educate me.
Oh, okay. Well, assemblies are people who realize that the government is a corporation and doesn't serve the people like it was supposed to.
Hmm.
And they create these groups and they think that they're going to stand up their counties and their states as de jure and not de facto and take over the de facto government. And they seem to believe that in 1871 is when they corporatized the United States government and removed it from the republic, and that Trump's the 19th president in American history, and he's going to bring the republic back, and we're going to get rid of the de jure and the fiat Federal Reserve note and eliminate the Federal Reserve Bank, and on and on and on and on. And one of these assembly people is Anna Von Reitz, which you probably never heard of, and she has a bank called the Global Family Bank. And we got into that conversation and talking to her. She goes, "Oh, yeah, my friend invested in that bank and can't get her money out. And, they won't tell her anything." Well, I said, "You need to tell your friend she gave her money away. That money's
Yeah.
gone. She's never getting it back because that money's in a bank in Switzerland." And I personally went and did an 18-minute undercover video because the alleged bank was just right north of you. If you're in the Heights,
Mhm.
just right over there, you know where Timber Grove is?
I'm still learning.
Okay. 18th
Yeah, still
Street.
learning. Okay.
There you go.
Right there.
Yeah, right around there.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went in there and talked to the alleged CFO. It was on their website, and
Yeah.
he didn't know anything about the bank. And there's just a lot of that going on. But no, those people, they have the right ideation, but they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. They got the right people, but they're following the right people. And people should be doing this on their own. I have one of my former guests, Erica. I call her America's mom because she's always doing things to help your kids. Like when your child goes on a field trip, they have to bring home permission slip for mom to sign, right? Well,
Okay.
now it used to be okay, so and so is going to the Museum of Fine Arts on such and such day and time, blah blah blah. Will you give permission? Yes.
Yep.
Now you get like 3 or 4 pages of waivers and liabilities and indemnity clauses and hold harmless agreements.
That's crazy.
for the bus company, the school district, the teacher, the chaperones, the guardians. So she breaks all that down and says, "Okay, this is how you need to go in and rechange all that so it's in your
Mhm.
favor. This, put your contact information." So she moved from Seattle, Washington to rural Kentucky. And the change in her is she looks like, the moon in Washington. She looks like the sun in Kentucky. I mean, it's just a bright star. She raised chickens from chicks, and she documents their life. Okay, we're going to open up the the roost and let them all out in the morning. And she'll put a camera there, and then they'll all come running out, and it's real
Yeah,
cool. She's and that's part of what it is about, living on the land, having your
yeah,
feet in the dirt, and mingling with the soil, feeling the elements, and just laying on the grass and looking up and sun gazing. And that's just not a part of city life.
yeah. You were alluding to that earlier when you mentioned that how Houston changed since like the 70s, 80s, and that
Mhm.
like now everything's getting sort of industrialized and like a lot of the nature areas are kind of becoming more um, land developments and housing. So like we kind of miss the mark on being able to like have that greenery that allows us to have the restart into our mental health and our spiritual health and well-being. But it's like, that kind of gets overlooked and you're just kind of working for some entity, and which is really just someone else's dream. And you're
Right.
wondering like, why do you feel like the moon? Why are you so with like lacking life?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, man, she just glows. It's it's crazy looking at the two differences, because this is like over a 3-year period that I've watched her,
Yeah,
because
I
she was
believe
like
it.
all stressed out and and
Hmm.
pale, and you could just see the stress in her.
Yeah,
Now she's just glowing, warm, just eyes are bright. Yeah,
yeah,
it's and that's what I want. You
yeah,
know, I don't want
yeah,
to. I'm tired of the city life. And it sucks to
yeah.
say that, because I really did enjoy Houston while it lasted. And you know where Tomball is?
Yep, Tomboy, yep.
I used to skip school and drive out to Tomball, and we would kill a deer, throw it in the trunk, and drive back and dress it out, and we'd eat deer. That's how Houston used to be, bro.
Yeah,
Where you could
yeah,
literally skip high school, drive 30 minutes, kill a deer. It was great.
yeah. You're probably fishing too before the oil spill and all that stuff, and
Oh yeah.
probably having a good time.
Yeah, yeah. I used to, well, actually, I remember my dad driving down the seawall, before
Mhm.
Galveston was even developed,
Wow.
because they've resanded Galveston, the beach. They went and got the
Okay.
sand offshore, recreated the beach because of
Hmm.
erosion and hurricanes, all that.
Hmm.
So, so you've been in Houston for 11 months?
11 months. Not to say I've been in Houston, but I've been here for a few months and just been like really just trying to build here. I
Okay.
think I came here just on. I know it sounds irresponsible, but like a whim. Prior to this, I was living in Nepal for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, just meditating. I'm trying to figure out like your friend, is this industry serving me still?
Mhm.
Working in tech, I get that. It's a lot of us are just working for the weekend, and it's like a very addictive culture. You're either like addicted to the money, to the alcohol, to the drugs that helps you to kind of like numb you to the fact that you really don't your time isn't your time. You have to do so much to make all this money, and it's like, well, what's the value of money if I don't value my lifestyle, my living, my work-life balance? Like they talk about it, but and I can take some time off, but you can take, let's say you take 3 weeks off and you come back and you feel miserable right after, like your example of going to Puerto Rico. It's like, well, what is work-life balance? It's just like a sample of like taking an Advil, knowing you'll get a headache tomorrow still, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely. So, hang on, let me get rid of that. What made you go to the tattoo festival?
aside from the billboard that we're passed by in Houston, I think it was just I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, there's a mix of there's art, it's creativity, and there's also pain, right? I know that with tattoos in general, like it's kind of like a lot of it is taking something that's inside and manifesting it into something that you either feel empowered by or you're overcoming or you want to represent you in some sort of capacity. And I felt like there would be some alignment there in a way. I have, I don't know if I waved enough, but I have tattoos all over and every tattoo has its own story. And Um, I just want to make some connections, find folks that are, either suffering in silence or folks that are, looking to create or co-create and also some collaboration where we can have books, inserts, tattoo shops. And, as you're getting your tattoo, you can also connect with your tattoo artist. It doesn't have to feel so disconnected. Like even before AI, we had the big thing with social media that disconnected us from our humanity and from each other, right? And then
Right.
before that is whatever. But I want to say that I want to live in a world where gone are the days where I go to a tattoo shop and I'm just doing this while I'm getting tattooed. I want to sit with my tattoo artist like I'm sitting at a barber shop and have a conversation with them. Like, how are you thinking? Like, what's going on? Like, and we're having relationship and building community like you
Okay.
talk about, it's important. And, like, it resonated with a lot of different artists for sure, because they do want to connect and it builds, relationships. But it's one of those things where it's like I'm trying to just find something that resonates and fits. And I think that just the sheer number and volume of attendees, like, stuck out to me. But uh, as I got there, it was a lot different than I expected for sure.
Well, if I remember correctly, you didn't even have a booth. You were just like kind of on the edge of somebody's table, right?
Oh, that was my table.
Was that your table? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like fancy schmancy or anything like that. I took some stuff off the wall at the house and hung it up in the backdrop and just
Okay.
made it, yeah, but like it was definitely like I was just sitting on the table letting people pass by and just having conversations. Like I didn't want to be behind the desk like I'm in
Right.
some at an office or a doctor's office. I
Okay.
wanted to sit there with the people,
Right.
feel the energy, and see how they react to my presence.
Okay. Let's read another page out of the book.
All right, let's see. We can do this way, the front then. You can stop me anytime.
Stop.
Right here? Okay.
Hmm.
Left, right. I'll do the right this time. Huh. So in the end, the spiritual path is not about shielding yourself from others, but about embracing the diversity of energies and interactions, all while staying true to the essence of who you are. Through unity, self-awareness, and a commitment to growth, you become not just a participant in life, but a co creator of something much larger. Self punishment is not always in the form of needles and burns, but can also include the internal turmoil one chooses to subscribe to, which keeps the mind focused on punishment. There's a direct correlation between your ability to perform and satisfy your partner and your ability to satisfy yourself on a deeper levels of intimacy. It's unnecessary to force someone to be what you desire when your soil is poisoned with toxins and negative beliefs. I'm the farmer of this reality and the environment, while God is the source of nutrients. God's involvement in this process, which I allow, creates buds and beautiful plants. If interviewing is one-sided and not like dating, this would not make for a good environment. Far too often we settle, especially as we attach things and material objects to ourselves. A society based on capitalism does not thrive on freedom, but instead creates slaves, either voluntarily or involuntarily, knowing or unknowing. To break free from any system, the answer is simple: stop participating. The journey out begins with deep self reflection, an honest look at where and how much you attribute to the very structures that no longer serve you. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's how appropriate.
yeah. God is
That-
good. God is good.
yeah, that's astonishing. I,
So,
wow. That's I definitely want to get a copy of the book. I want
for
to read
sure.
it now because that was just too coincidental. Too
Yeah,
much
and
on target with our conversation.
that's the
That's
thing. I can never predict what's going to happen.
yeah, me neither. I mean, I have a scheduler, and I try to just keep the major stuff in here. But as far as getting guests, well, you and I, we went back and forth quite a bit before we could get something hammered out in stone. But here we
Mhm.
are, and
Yeah,
wow, man, I'm just really glad to meet you. What do you go by as far as your name? You go by Galactic Nomad,
I go by Nomad for short.
Nomad for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there we go, folks. Where can we get your book?
It's on Amazon. You can just type in Galactic Nomad, downloads from the fifth dimension. Or if you see a, a strange person walking around Houston or anywhere in the world, you can pick a copy from me as well.
All right, hang on. I'm going to pop it up here for everybody to look at.
Thank you.
Here it is on Amazon. Galactic Nomad, downloads from the fifth dimension. Paperback is published December 1st, 2024 by Galactic Nomad author Bruna Bertossi, photographer LaDonna Rea, photographer, and four more. It's not just a book, it's a spiritual portal for those suffering in silence, ready to awaken. There are no page numbers because you're never lost, only guided. Flip to any page and you'll find a message meant for you, just for you. Each passage is a divine download, raw, poetic, and soul-stirring, designed to reconnect you with God and remind you that you are the conduit of divine love. Whether you're in pain, in search of purpose, or reclaiming your light, this book meets you where you are and leads you back home, to yourself, to truth, to freedom. A portal for the forgotten, a compass for the awakened. Wow, there you go. You're on Instagram as Galactic Nomads _books.
Oh, I had to change that, by the way. It's
Okay.
yeah, Galactic _world domination.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me, actually.
For everything. So did you have fun formatting your book for Kindle?
That was the S show for sure. It was. I didn't realize just how
I know.
yeah, it's intense. It's intense.
Especially if you want to do all three editions, the ebook,
Yeah.
softcover, and hardback.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I'm actually looking at other publishers and trying to get into that. They're talking about what is it? I forgot who the other large one is that Barnes and Noble only
Random
works with.
House.
It was yeah, it's someone else too. Ingram Sparks. Ingram Sparks.
Okay. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, I wasn't either, so I had to go through this whole process.
Okay.
Apparently a lot of people don't like Amazon, so
It's I still have one, two, three, six more to do.
mhm.
Three paperbacks and three hardbacks. Okay, I got to go back and reform them. All the ebooks are, they straight up pretty much.
Mhm.
They were easy. The other ones are, oh my god, formatting's a mother.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if you find a local publisher, let me know.
Okay.
I have somebody that I went to school with who is a publicist for authors,
Oh wow.
and I've been trying to get her to, hey, I'm over here writing and publishing books. Wake up, pay attention. And, I guess I don't fit her category. You may, so that's something we both can work on as well. Finding publishers
Yeah,
and
yeah. I'd be
printing
down
books.
to. I would definitely be down to like, what do you call it? Support each other as well. I think I run across probably my ADHD is kicking my butt right now. I'm like thinking of like a publisher conversation I had like probably like over a month ago that I'm trying to reconnect to you in this moment. I'm so solution oriented, so it's the default.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely need to do that.
I got you. I got your back.
Cool. Awesome. So you're looking to chase new environs and you're going to leave in about a month. So you're going to pick up Muay Thai in your next destination?
Yeah, Muay Thai or like and mix it up with some BJJ, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I think would be nice. Learn about like once you get on the ground because once standing ground is different than once you're actually on the ground and
Oh, it's two different things.
yeah and once they get you down there you're pretty much you know their little plaything so I'm trying hard not to be all messed up once I get there so
Yeah, I was when I was younger, probably 10, 11, 12.
hmm
I took karate, judo, and jiu-jitsu,
Oh, wow.
which like nobody knew what jiu-jitsu was. The only reason we knew was because of our instructor. He was teaching it to us, and it was, really strength compared to karate and judo, because those were the two main things back then. And taekwondo was just coming out, and then
Yep.
kickboxing. So the evolution of martial arts, before it became UFC,
Mhm.
and now BKFC. Do you watch Bare Knuckles Fighting Championship?
I watched a couple episodes. That's crazy. Then we just called that high school.
Oh, it's a sport now, and I think it's going to take over. I think it's going to beat out boxing and UFC.
Yeah, that and you ever see the slap boxing stuff where they
Yeah,
stand there and just slap
yeah,
That stuff is funny to me.
that's almost like self abuse,
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's like slap me. I'm like,
At least in martial arts, you're trying not to get hit. That's the
yeah.
whole name of the game. This one's like you want to get hit.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, I don't know. They might be into it or something, or like their mom was slapping them one good time, and they're like, yeah, I want that for the rest of my life.
Right. Yeah. Some of those scroll through my Facebook and those shorts, and you'll say, oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep. You can't turn away. You can never turn away from it either. No matter how sophisticated you are, you're like, I just want to see if he can handle it. Yeah.
That's nuts. That's a competition right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll
That's
be cool if
insane.
UFC got into brawling. Like if they did like 3-on-3 or something, that'll be cool. Like WWE
Right.
used to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right. They just did a BKFC up in Dickies Arena in Fort Worth.
Wow.
Small turnout for Dickies Arena. I was there for their grand opening when they opened it up about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now.
But you're gonna, yeah.
Entertainment industry.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta tell me about that stuff.
Yeah, we did Steve Miller again, and I hadn't seen Steve Miller. He was the first concert I ever went to in 1978.
Oh, that's lucky.
Yeah, and the next time I saw him was 2019.
Mhm.
God, it's been that long. Yeah. 2019. And, I finished doing my deal. I was rigging on that call. So we're the first ones in, last ones out. So,
Mhm.
we're usually done while they're putting the equipment on the stage, doing sound check, all that stuff. So I'm sitting there checking out Steve Miller's guitar tech, and he pulls out this double neck SG. And I'm like, oh, that's Jimmy Page's guitar. And he goes, yep, that's right, mate. And I'm like, that's really his guitar? And he's like, yeah, look at the case. So I go over and look on the case, and it says JP double neck SG for Jimmy Page. And I go, well, how'd Steve Miller get Jimmy Page's SG? He goes, oh, they're good friends. Jimmy gave it to him. And I'm thinking, Steve Miller, Jimmy Page are good friends? Wow, that's kind of an oddball thing there, because their music, one's kind of popish rock, classic rock, and the other's, Led Zeppelin. Category by themselves. So, that was Dickies Arena. And I do kind of crazy stuff like that all the time. That's what I said. I have such a divine life. It's incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Anything you want to close with or add, or you have any shows coming up or book signings or any,
Yeah, it looks like I'll be. Looks like I'll be in. Let's see. It's one of those things. I plan on going to White Cup soon. Uh, it's an event out here. Let me actually pull up the email. White Cup convention. It's like it's gonna be here. Yeah, it's coming up. The White Cup convention. I'll be there June 27th. But aside from the name of the events that I'll be attending, I just want to just thank God for this opportunity to just sit and talk with you. I think that's the best way I can ever close anything, no matter what event.
Okay.
It's all. I'm not gonna say it's arbitrary, but I do. I am grateful.
If somebody wanted to come meet you in person here in Houston that are watching the show, because I do have people here in Houston that watch the show.
Okay.
Yeah. I talk about Houston and Texas stuff all the time.
Okay, yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram, and I'll be better at posting it. I got to learn from Fearless Floyd about Dan insisting on posting stuff because I'm one of those, yeah, nomadic, but even nomadic in mind. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm here today and I'm here tomorrow, and people are like, wait, what? And I tell them after the fact. So
I'll turn you on to the event I went to Saturday.
how was it?
Uh, man, I had a freaking blast. Um, it's Latino culture, but it's not all Latinos. There's every
Hmm.
race there,
Yeah,
but it's mainly high end motorcycles that are all custom out, low riders, um, hot rods, and they have people vendors that
hmm.
sell stuff. They were selling snow cones,
Nice.
jewelry, bandanas, t-shirts. There were all kind of people that just came over there and threw down a table and threw a tablecloth on it and a sign and put out their merch. And they do that every 2 weeks.
We gotta check that out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going back out there in 2 weeks because they were all asking me about my Be Fearless shirt. There's like, hey man, we're gonna get one of those shirts. I'm like, because I don't even have them available on my store because they're all kind of prototypes to what I want to do for designs. But
Hmm.
I'll be back. I'll be back because I do have merchandise to sell, and I had a blast. I mean, where can you go in Houston and see, a car up on its side, driving on three wheels, and another one
What's
comes
that?
vroom, 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 bouncing down the street, and the cops are driving by and they're just like, we didn't see anything.
Not my problem.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is freaking cool. And you're
Yeah.
outdoors. It's a nice little park, good community, good culture. Everybody's friendly. They have t-shirted staff out there with orange cones and directing traffic and making sure everybody's safe and nobody gets hurt.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was awesome. And we were doing the music video shoot, and that was just kind of ancillary to everything else that was going on. Because when I got there, I was like, "Oh man, all this is for the music video shoot. This is cool." Because there's just a line of old antique cars and low riders and
Hmm.
all these bikes, and I'm like, "Oh, cool! They all came out for Juan, man. He's got a big crew, cool." And then I found out, oh, this is every 2 weeks. He's just utilizing the backdrop for his video. But yeah, man, it was a great time. It's something I think everybody should just go experience, just go hang out, just to check out the culture and see how these people have a good time. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, really fun. So yeah, maybe we'll get together and go out and do that. But I definitely want to get together with you and go do the Muay Thai.
I'm
Uh,
down. Yeah. Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, what is it? 7 to 8 o'clock. Just tell me you're with me
seven,
and
eight,
we'll,
1 hour
yep. Yeah. 1 hour.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah. Tell me you're with me and we'll just, hang
Uh,
out.
yeah, I can't do this Thursday. I got tickets to a concert.
Of course.
Um, you ever heard of Thievery Corporation?
No, but shoot, you gotta put me on.
Check
I
them
feel
out.
so out of touch. I feel so out of touch with like music, man. Like I'm like in a bubble. As far as 70s stuff goes, I stick to the same
Oh,
Pink Floyd
this is new
albums.
stuff.
New stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
even that I feel like an old man with new stuff. It's weird.
It's all over the place.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
when I hang out with Juan, I'm meeting all these rappers, and I have no idea who they are, and they're all big superstar Houston rappers, and
Hmm.
I,
That
they're just another person to me.
that's me too. I swear. Like one of my tenants, she's like she went to the car meet or something over the weekend. It might have been the same one, and she was just naming off artists and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. That's a cool name, I guess, but I don't know. I don't
Right?
know. Like I'm out of the loop. I would love to get updated.
If you've heard of the Underground Kings,
UGK,
yeah,
worse.
uh, they're his buddies. I met all those guys.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love those
I
guys.
did I did the music video with them for the
Oh, you
squad.
did?
Yeah, they were profiled in that. And
Uh,
obviously, that he wrote the hook for Little Troy's Shot Caller.
Okay.
Yeah, he wrote that hook.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Now it's locking in. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I wanna definitely get updated on my music catalog. She's because
Yeah, I get to
my
talk to all
tenant.
these
Yeah.
people,
Well, show me sometimes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely get together. I mean, I'm free tomorrow night,
Hmm.
but Thursday I definitely got that concert, and then Wednesday I'll be at the Hydrogen Tech Expo.
Okay. That
We'll
sounds
go
like
learn
fun.
about hydrogen technology.
Oh,
I'm
with the
always I'm
cars.
always learning. No hydrogen, period, as an
Hmm.
energy source.
Okay.
All the technologies just with hydrogen. So if you went to the offshore technology conference, you're just dealing with offshore technology for oil and gas. This is hydrogen.
That's amazing. You got to
Yeah,
tell me how you find these things, man. I know you're a local and you're the big wig
it's
here, but
it's at the NRG, and I do shows there all the time.
okay.
And so I stay up to date what's going on there, and the George R. Brown and all the other venues. So
Smart.
yeah, I'm. If you want to go, I may have an extra pass. I haven't even open the email actually, so I may be able to get you another one if you would like to go check it out. So just let
If
me
there's
know.
alignment, yeah, if there's alignment, and I'll give you a pizza or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's in our NRG.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm on my 2 hour mark, and I want to thank you for being on the show. Again, everybody can find your book on Amazon. And how much is it on Amazon?
It's only $20.
20
Amazon.
bucks. There you go. A $20 bill will get you the book. And believe me, you heard two excerpts from it. And the excerpt that I chose at the tattoo festival was enough to encourage me to invite Nomad on the show and talk about his book. So we opened two random sources in the book on this show, and they both fit in perfect with the whole conversation and narrative of the show. I want to thank you very much for being here. I'd love to have you back on again and cover some more of the book. Are you going to go write another book?
I'm already writing another book.
You already write. You're writing it, or is
He is.
you're just the penman?
Yep. I'm just taking notes. I'm just taking notes.
Taking notes.
Yep.
All right, my brother. Well, thank you very much for being here, man. And I will uh call me. You have my
Okay.
number, right?
I don't think so. It might be in the email actually, but
Yeah. If it's not, we'll get together after the show. So give me about 30 minutes.
perfect. Perfect. I'm gonna run
All right.
up and get some spaghetti and I call you right after.
Okay. Thank you, my
All
brother.
right.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you. Of
You're
course. Take
welcome.
care.
All right. There you go. Nomad, his book, The Galactic Nomad, downloads from the fifth dimension. There's the rear cover. Again, the book. It's available on Amazon. There you go. Hang on, baby girl. I'll be with you in a minute. And right here, it's $20. So y'all go pick you one up. If you order today, if you're in Houston, you can get it by Wednesday. There's the reverse. Galactic Nomad began his journey after a profound encounter with God that sparked a continuous flow of life changing insights. His path took a drastic turn after a near death experience, falling off a cliff and defying what seemed like certain death, leaving those close to him shaken and bewildered. This pivotal moment wasn't just about survival, it was a rebirth, the catalyst that opened his eyes to deeper truths. And he wrote this fabulous tome. Uh, please help him out, invest your money, and have an escape, a book that you can turn to at any time and hear the word of God. So thank you again, sir, for being on the show. Hopefully I'll get with Carmen later and see what we can do about getting her promoted. I've already talked to Juan Vasquez about Carmen and helping her out. So thank you, everybody, for being here. There will be no outro. I'm turning it off because I've exceeded my time limit. So on your way out the door, be sure and like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, leave a comment below. You can always reach me at the Fearless Floyd Show at yahoo.com. FearlessFloydShow.com is my website. Thank you, everyone, for sacrificing your time, money, and energy to sit here and watch my show for the past 120 minutes. You have a good week. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you when I see you. Hopefully, all these people are correct about the RV.